opening and closing. Almost like strands are running off of it. Sort of widening out to an oval. Almost looks like a bloodshot eye. Just a bloodshot eye right out in front of my vision. Now it's sort of turned to look upward, so it's like I'm looking at an eye that's right here in front of me. And now it's starting to form a face, but I can only really make out like the eye and the area around it.
Whose eye is it? What's the eye doing?
Sort of turning away from me. And it looks at those as hair, kind of like long hair. And I'm just seeing the side of their head, whoever this is. And the figure's faint, but still in front of me, and there's just this pulsating right above it. Kind of similar to what was at the beginning.
We're gonna do the tennis ball test now.
It almost looks as if there's like some sort of circle up high above that's shooting down. And the body's kind of gone now. If I close my eyes, it sort of seems as if there's some sort of like ship almost shooting something down. And the ship is gone now, and there's almost like a fire sort of out in front. Feels like something's running past me right here. And now sort of it's stayed, sort of like left a trail that's gone past my face to this side. The fire's become a lot weaker out in front. There's like a dark cloud almost over on this side that came and kind of just like washed away everything I was seeing. And now it just looks like two things kind of lowering down in front of me. I can't tell what they are. Almost like a giant foot that's come down from the sky right here, as if I'm underneath a giant that's sort of walking. Seems as if like the 2 feet have turned and is now facing in my direction, but they're not walking. The sort of like legs have faded away. And it seemed as if they kind of melted and everything flowed to like a center point out in front of me. And I feel like I'm standing or floating above something, but I can't quite make out what it is. Sort of looks like cracked glass. But now every time I try and fix on a certain point, it seems like the cracked glass kind of moves around my vision. And it looks as though like straight out in front, it's like a figure that I can't quite make out. Looks like a figure that's kind of within the glass. Feels like something's coming to me from this side. And as I look over, the grass that was crackling stays in this spot. Almost as if like I'm centering my focus again. It's still there in this fixed position, but there's like a, like a singular circle right in the middle of it. Now I feel like in the center of that circle, I just saw like 2 faces interact and then sort of split apart. Almost like a sort of like loving embrace between 2 things, and now they're standing right apart from each other, their mouths just open wide, and they faded away. Now there's almost like a dark sort of, I don't know what kind of animal to describe it, with like terrifying eyes, and another one coming down at it again from the opposite side. And now they've vanished. It's sort of, the glass has sort of started crackling again in the center. Now it seems like a giant, like abstract face is sort of opening its mouth and slowly making its way towards me. But as it came towards me, I sort of faded into it. Sort of, another one of the dark objects just flew past right through me. Now just a ton of imagery of like very kind of like mangled, poorly drawn faces are all sort of popping up and moving across my vision, while there's sort of like a singular, almost skull, but it has a bit more form to it. And I closed my eyes, and kind of up here, a little bit above the center of my vision, just sort of a light that's sort of sparkling out sort of pieces of it. And the more I focus on it, the more blurry it gets. And the less I pay attention, the more it starts to take its original shape. Opening my eyes again, it feels like either something's washing over me or I'm coming out of something. And there's this large, expansive, open area, but there's no ground or no sky. Weird, distorted face was looking away and just sort of turned and then faded out of my vision. Another crazily drawn, distorted face sort of just circled, and now another one sort of coming at me. I can't quite make it out, but it seems almost as if it's flying. There's a woman's face, small one in the distance, sort of laughing, fading through my vision. And it sort of feels like, almost looks like this large thing with like sharp pointed teeth and eyes that splay out is sort of flying directly at me. And every time it comes close, it sort of fades and goes back to where it was, almost repeating on a loop. Almost looks like a bat. Now it seems as two faces are back in the middle, sort of interacting and not splitting apart this time. They're slowly fading off to the side as I feel something coming up from this side. It's almost as if something's fading over my eyes from that left. Something sort of raising up from beneath me now. Feels as if my left side is slowly darkening over to my right side. Well, there's sort of a large figure right here, but I can't quite make out what it is. It seems like the two giant legs are back, but now sort of slanted and two people again, sort of man and a woman now. I can make it out. I can see like more of their figure. It seems like the figures from before, and they're interacting. But now they faded away. And now the face seems incredibly close now, the one that was coming towards me. But once it got right up to me, it sort of faded out. And there's another... As quickly as it came, there was another face that sort of opened its mouth and closed and faded away in front of me. Now, like almost like a werewolf, I guess. Its sort of mouth opened and continued to open and then faded the second I started to register it. Another sort of evil face staring at me for a second and turning across and fading out.
Hey, back away. Back away.
Another face that sort of just quickly turned, almost as if it was trying to scare me.
That's enough.
But still in the background is the man and the woman embracing. I can make it out every few seconds. But then occasionally another face will sort of look at me or come towards me. Another very faded face with sharp teeth sort of coming at me again, blocking the man and woman. But now that it's faded, they've sort of come back into focus. Now there's sort of like a dark current, not coming from the side, but sort of like coming up my vision. Sort of like waves sort of going across in front. And the two giant legs have kind of returned, sort of standing and now facing away from me.